We can't tell you what initiated this. All right.
Right.
About 2 weeks later, they called me back and they told me that we've decided that you and your wife are no longer of interest to us, but if you expand your business, you will become of interest to us. I said, you're threatening me. No, it's not a threat. There's no other way to understand that. There's no other way to look at that. You're threatening me. And I said, I'll tell you what, under Obama, I will do nothing to expand my business. And he said, no, please don't look at it that way. Dude, you made yourself clear. I got it. So, yeah, I have a whole different perspective when the liberals say, oh, yes, oh, what? Yeah, no, you're dreaming. The system is a machine. It's a business by itself. It's mutated into a corporation that we have no longer, we're the unwilling customers for this corporation. And we've got to get the right people in office, and it's got to be cleaned out. So hopefully Trump is the right start. We need somebody, we need a maniac, sort of like Patton, to get in there that knows that whatever he's done, whatever he's going to do, it's going to reverberate. They've got an ego. They answer to themselves and their own ego. Yes, he has an ego. I think that ego is going to work for us. You know, I think it's going to work for us. I'm hoping it does.
Either that or New York and California will become their own countries.
Listen, I was listening.
No.
I was listening in the car today to All News, and they were interviewing Governor Kasich from Ohio, and he said, "Look, I wasn't supporting Trump. I found a lot of things that were wrong, but he said he brought up a very good analogy. He said he's the pilot of the plane. He said, where have you ever read of people who were not rooting for the pilot of a plane to succeed? He said, because if he succeeds, we all succeed. Okay? But they did temper that by saying that there's a chance that Kasich may run against him in 2020. Okay? But as far as today was concerned, they had a very amicable meeting, and as far as I'm concerned, listening to Kasich, of all the 16 or 17 candidates for president, he was the only one that was a moderate, the only one who was willing to listen to the other side and say, listen, we can't do things like this. We have to work together, otherwise there's never going to be any progress. Yeah. So as far as that goes, I mean, if I had to back a Republican, I would say I would be leaning more toward Kasich.
Well, right now we have a Republican Congress, we have a Republican president. Let's see if they really don't need the Democrats for any support of almost anything. Let's see if they do anything. I don't think the Congress is going to do that much anyway.
I see them already doing stuff. I mean, a perfect example is that Kelly that Trump put in as the UN ambassador to the United Nations. Did you see her first speech?
Yes.
She rattled their foundation. She rattled their cage. The United Nations is sitting back reeling right now. They're like, what are we going to do with her? Because she's connected to the people that pay the bills. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? Good for him. He finally put somebody in there that was blunt. And it exposed them for the hypocrites that they are. And this is the type of thing that we need. So it's not a club. They've turned these, like the United Nations, that's a privileged elite club where they get there and they're not doing the work. You think they care about really world events? Well, like she said in that speech, that was a great speech. If any of you didn't hear it, it's worth looking it up and listening to what she said. For her first briefing, that was impressive. Now, these are the type of people that Trump is putting in charge of these agencies. No nonsense, cut and dry, do the job, get in and clean it out. Not good old boy stuff, let's get along and just put up with it. No more. No more of that. We've had it.
That's what, people are saying about Tillerson, about Kelly, and about the man he just hired for the NSA, McManus, is it? General McManus? I'm not sure.
Yep.
Okay, that these are brilliant men military men, you know. So, yeah, and I recall as a kid, you know, New York, the five boroughs, New York used to have a Mayor Wagner, Robert Wagner. Not a very bright guy. He served, I think, 3 or 4 terms or something in New York. But he had very bright people in his administration. And when there was something that had to be done, he relied on his, you know, his own inner cabinet, okay? And that's what made him successful, all right? So who knows?
Yeah,
Trump
know
knows,
how to hire
Trump
the right
knows what his limitations are when it comes to certain things. I'll give him that. You know, and he wants to surround himself with people that he knows he can trust. So, I mean, that was why Flynn had to go. Too much controversy.
I mean, look at a perfect example. The difference is, look at who Obama appointed as the Ebola czar. Do you remember that? That was hysterical.
I'm not sure.
He appointed.
He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a doctor.
It was an attorney from the Democratic Party. It was one of the good old boys. The guy was an attorney. The only thing he knew about hospitals was how to go in and get treated.
Well,
he knew nothing about Ebola.
That was like Bush when he put that Secretary Brown in charge of FEMA, and he said, "Brownie, you're doing a great job." This was after Katrina, and the guy literally made a fool of himself in the whole FEMA organization. You know, it took FEMA a long time before they were able to come back from that embarrassment.
You know, we're talking so much. We're not giving Ed a chance to even.
Ed knows he could come in anytime.
Well,
Ed,
you know, if you really want to find out what's going to happen with the Trump thing, is let's get the states right. The states are coming out and saying, you know what, our founding fathers were hemp farmers. If you want to see Hemp for Victory in 1942, go to YouTube and look for Hemp for Victory. Encouraged our farmers to grow hemp again, even though the 37 Marijuana Tax Act said that we couldn't use hemp anymore in this country. We're waking up as an American citizenship, and Trump better get there and say, let's grow hemp. Let's get the people out there. Let's get behind Willie Nelson. Let's get behind the people, and let's grow marijuana throughout the country. If he does that, then I believe he's in the liberty. If he says, put him in jail, then he's just like the rest of them.
You know, Mike, I happened to mention to Ed before when he was talking like that, I said, bring back the 60s. I mean, everybody who...
Yeah, well, you know, this is...
What I was going to say is...
We've got medical marijuana. We're going to get total legalization in Florida. The state by state, the states' rights are ignoring the federal government and the 37 Marijuana Tax Act, just like the states were ignoring Dred Scott.
But what I was saying was, anybody...
The Northwest Territory Act, I can go into the whole story, but we have to stand up and get the people out of the cages. We have 2.5 million people almost in cages now.
Anybody who lived in a house...
It's ridiculous.
Anybody who lived in a house and had a backyard...
We need liberty.
Okay.
Liberty.
They basically used to grow their own.
Liberty!
We'll see if Trump's for liberty.
You know, they used to grow their own.
We'll see if Trump's for liberty. If he keeps putting people in cages for hemp, he's not for liberty. He's like Obama. He's like Bush. He's like Nixon. He's like Reagan. He's like the rest of the idiots.
Cory Booker, senator from Jersey, okay, and a Republican conservative. I'm not sure if it was Lindsey Graham or if it was McCain, but they were trying to work on legislation to get all the prisoners who were in jail, tens of thousands on drug charges, where all they were doing was, you know, it was possession, not even intent to sell, but they had more than a certain amount, you know.
But forget that. It's a total liberty. We are adults. We have the right to grow it. Get out of our lives. Get out of our faces, government. And, you know, they've been in our faces for too long, since 1937. And, you know, we need somebody to stand up for us. And if Trump don't stand up for that, he's the same as the rest of the crap. And he's going to find that out, too. So we'll see where his session guy comes down on this. because it's coming soon, and we're ready for him.
Well, I think Sessions has his work cut out for him, okay? It's not going to be an easy
Oh, he does.
4
We're
years
waiting
for him.
for him. We're
It's not
waiting for his, you know.
You know, if he stays in 4 years, who knows? But it won't be an easy 4 years for him. You know.
Well, he seems to be a pretty tough little guy. I think he'll handle himself fine.
Well, he better stand for the people that want liberty for the people to grow hemp. Because if he doesn't, he's doing the wrong thing. Because we're changing it now throughout this country. It's
hemp
changing.
or marijuana?
Even Trump came out during his campaign and said, "Hey, we're all for medical marijuana. Yeah, we're for medical marijuana, but we're for total marijuana." Henry Ford grew it to make deposits for his car. We can make America great again through the hemp plant. It has
but there are two issues here. Hemp is one thing, but
Washington used it.
But hemp is one thing, but you want it for recreational use, marijuana, as well?
You know what?
Okay.
That's up to the states. Send it back to the states and let the states decide.
Then if you start smoking, automatically you're going to lose, because when you fill out your form to buy a firearm, then it says right in there that under federal law, you're breaking the law.
That's every
so
state.
they have the right. That's
every
form.
state. You know what?
It's a federal
Second
form.
Amendment trumps that.
Your next
go.
Okay, your next check, the next background check depends on that form you fill out.
Well, you know what? You don't have to fill that form out.
You're not going to get a gun.
It's the Second Amendment. Right. You go. You know what? You can get a gun without that.
You're not going to legally get a gun.
You want status? Well, you know what? No, you can legally get one because of the Second Amendment.
Oh,
you have
the
law. You have the status type mentality. But regardless of it,
you're going to lose your gun rights.
There are 10 states. There are 10 states now that got legal marijuana.
And they got a big problem right now because of the gun issue with ATF. There's a big issue going on over this right now, because that means you're a marijuana user and you're not entitled to have a firearm.
Well, they want to do away with
that's not a state issue. It's federal.
You don't put people in cages anymore, and
but
you don't
understand, that's
DEA.
A federal issue. The state has
You got to get rid of the DEA. Should go away.
Okay,
the federal government. It's an unconstitutional organization.
But you're focused on one thing. You're forgetting one thing. You're looking at it through a straw. This is a federal issue with the ATF. State has no power over the ATF. ATF made these rules, and the next background checks.
You know what?
Controlled by the FBI.
No, it does. The Second Amendment trumps that, and the states trump it. And
not the way the law is.
And the Petit Droy trumps it. But you want to think that you can dictate to everybody. That's fine.
No,
and I don't mind that you have that
government controls that.
No, the federal government doesn't. The state governments do. The state
doesn't
government
control the ATF.
Set up. Chicago has the right to. We don't want guns, and they don't have them. Or we're going to have. You have to do this.
No, they don't. They tried that. They tried that, and the federal government came in, and there were two decisions: Heller and the McDonald case.
But you know what?
They told them they were wrong.
They have
they
gun
can't
control. They have gun control laws over there. But the fact of the matter is, when it gets down to
they made them dump it.
Well, you know what?
You see
when it gets down to it, the fact of the matter is,
you're obsessed with one topic. You're not looking at the broader picture.
One topic.
Yes,
I
it's not just you're saying state.
But when you put
Supreme Court,
thousands of people in cages for pot, do you think human beings should be put in cages for marijuana? Do you?
You got to be careful.
Do you really think people should be put in cages for marijuana?
You got to be careful, because what you're doing is you're focusing on the same thing like a mantra. See, and you're talking over me. And you're talking over me. Okay, well, we can do it back the same way. The federal government took the Supreme Court, overruled Chicago, and said that their rules were wrong. They're illegal. They're against the Constitution. They cannot ban firearm ownership and gun stores and the permit or the right to carry, and they can't do that. And Chicago's tried repeatedly to rewrite the law to circumvent that, and they were not able to do it. You have to see a picture. It's on the web of the check that Rahm Emanuel signed over to the Second Amendment Foundation, over to Alan Gura. It was something like $300,000 the city of Chicago had to pay for legal fees, or more. So once you did that, the liberals learned, oh my God, they got my checkbook, and they stopped. The federal government has the right, but they thought they had states' rights and everything else. It cost them. They paid the price, and you're not looking at that. You're not looking
No,
at that. They
I
cost
am
some
looking
money.
at it because most of the states, gun